Welcome. I'm Beth Packman from the Greater Statesville Chamber of Commerce, and today I'm with Kimberly Wasson, who is a candidate for Statesville City Mayor. How are you, Kim?
I'm doing great this morning. How are you, Beth?
I'm doing terrific.
Fantastic on a rainy morning.
It is finally rainy, right?
Yes, much needed, much needed.
Absolutely. So, Kimberly, tell us a little bit about yourself, your background, and why you're running for mayor.
Okay. So my name is Kimberly Wasson. My family has been here for 6 generations. My children are here. My grandchildren are here. I was raised in East Statesville, went to East Elementary, graduated from North Iredell, went to school in Charlotte. Business administration was the focus there. I moved down to Durham for several years, worked for Blue Cross Blue Shield. Of North Carolina, and then I decided that I wanted to come back home. I wanted to raise my children here in Statesville, wanted to come home. So I came home, and my son was able to see what I thought was a thriving Statesville. This was late 80s.
Okay.
What I felt like was a thriving state. So we had everything that we needed. We had our malls, we had shopping, we had great schools, we had everything that we needed, and that was from a kid's perspective, and then a young adult perspective. And then about 11 years later, I had a daughter, and she just did not get to experience the Statesville that I felt like was truly Statesville.
Okay.
She got to see the Statesville that had the 3 malls and very little to do, 3 stores in the mall and very little to do in the city. The movie theaters were kind of leaving and skating rink was kind of dwindling. So some of the things that had been really, really fun and integral to my childhood and my son's childhood were kind of going away. And that kind of got me on the path of just kind of looking around and really doing community service. My work background, I've worked with some of the great companies here, Toter, International Paper, and Iredell Statesville School System. I went to Iredell Statesville School System after my children kind of started growing up, and we had some life challenges that took me out of the corporate world, and I was like, okay, I need to do something that keeps me on the time frame with my children. So I went to Iredell Statesville Schools, worked out at East Elementary for about 10 years, and then later on started my own tutoring company. So been in education for about 12 years,
All right.
including the tutoring company that we still have now down at Third Creek Middle. So
what made you decide you wanted to run for mayor?
Running for mayor, again, like I said, when I started looking around our community, people, you could see things, but getting involved, actively working, being on PTO, volunteered with many organizations. I've coached basketball, volleyball, track, cheerleading for my children.
Okay.
So just always been active, always been a servant, always been very involved. Also in my church with the Shallow AME Zion. So those things are kind of second nature to me, and wanting to help is second nature to me.
Okay.
So I wanted to run for council when we were having some really horrible things happen in our community. We'd had a death of a 9-year-old girl over in South Statesville. We had a lot of gang activity that was kind of kicking up in the city. Our schools weren't doing so well. Just a lot of challenges.
Sure.
And threw my hat in the ring, and I actually tried to help a couple of candidates first. And then they did not win, and so then I threw my hat in the ring, and I won.
How long have you been on council?
I've been on council for 3 years.
Okay.
It was a weird year because it was after COVID. So I was the first female to win an at-large seat. So finishing my 3 years on council, it's been awesome. And so when it came down to really trying to figure out what I was going to do next, if I was going to run for my at-large seat or if I was going to run for mayor, it came down to the conversation about housing.
Okay.
And so we've got some integral things going on in our city as far as our development goes. And when it comes to housing, affordable housing particularly, and people can call that whatever they want to, if it's 200,000 to 500,000, depending on where that falls for you. But we've got to have a diverse mix of housing. We've got to have opportunities for young adults to stay here. We've got to have opportunities for our doctors and lawyers to be able to stay here. I also remember a time when all of our doctors and lawyers that lived in the city, or worked in the city, lived in the city. Our teachers lived in the city, and I think that's incredibly important. So we've got to take care of the housing that we have in our city. And several years ago, prior to the time that I went on council, there was a housing inventory done. And so we are working to clean up some of the dilapidated housing, also working with some of the nonprofits in the area, Habitat for Humanity, Statesville Housing Authority, and also community foundations and iCare to create some of the lower income housing from the dilapidated housing that we have, renovations and those kinds of things. So working with United Way as well, we created a housing fund about 2 months ago. Lisa Pearson and I spearheaded that and got that passed. So it's down payment assistance and support for people that are aging in place. Because people talk about affordable housing, but the easiest kinds of affordable housing
is the one you've got.
Is the one you've got.
Yeah.
So if you're keeping people in their homes and helping them to renovate those homes and take care of them, it keeps our neighborhoods clean. It supports, our elderly people that are on fixed wages. If something happens to their roof, that could be devastating.
Absolutely.
They need wheelchair ramps, different things so that they can be able to stay in their homes. If we don't have those options and opportunities for them, a lot of times they have to leave. And we don't want that. We want them living in those houses, turning that generational wealth over to their children, and just basically keeping a great housing stock in our city. And truly, that's what made me run for mayor, because I want to continue that work that we have started, that work that we've started on housing with code enforcement and minimum housing. We've done some great work over the past 3 years. Southside is really, truly turning around, as well as some other communities where we're starting to see some growth and infill building inside the city limits, and we just want to make that work.
Awesome. Very good. Well, I'm going to ask you a couple more questions. We're running short on time here.
I'm sorry, I
That's
talk a
all
lot.
right. That's okay. What do you think the city does well from a service provision standpoint, and what are the most glaring needs?
We have an excellent staff. Our staff takes great care of our city. And then I would say some of the most glaring needs, we've got to invest in our roads. We've got to continue to invest in our paving and our sidewalks. I think that, because we get money from the state, we don't always get what we need. So those things have, it's just not enough.
Okay. All right. What is your definition of smart growth, and what is your general philosophy on growth currently happening in Statesville?
Smart growth to me means that we are building in areas where we need housing. We're working with the school system to make sure that the housing is going where we need it. We're not overcrowding anybody. It also means that we're building different varieties of houses, working with different types of developers, condos, townhouses, apartments, as well as single-family housing. Okay. What was the last part of the question? I'm sorry.
So what's your general philosophy on the growth currently happening in Statesville?
I'm excited about the growth that's happening in Statesville. Statesville was stagnant for about 25 years.
Yes.
We had 28,000 people for about 20 plus years, meaning that every time a new person moved in, somebody moved out. And so that's not good for any place. It's not good that you're stagnant, that you have an aging population that's not shopping, that's not spending money, that's not circulating businesses and working people in our community. We've got to have young vibrancy and young people in our community that are going to keep our shops and businesses and our community growing.
Absolutely. All right. As a council member, how will you go about working with your peers, other council members, and if possibly you as the mayor, to get things done?
Absolutely. One of the things that as mayor, absolutely, you're the leader. You are the head. You're the head of the table. So you've got to be able to have strong relationships. You've got to be able to have a strong vision so that you can talk and share, and then sometimes even help sway people to make great decisions. We work with our staff, we work with our city manager, but at the end of the day, we're council and we've got to listen to our community, but we've also got to work with each other to make sure that we're doing the things that it takes to get to keep things moving. And contrary to what some people might see or hear, in the past 3 years, we've done a lot.
You have.
We've gotten a lot done, but it wasn't all because we all got along. we got it done because we needed 5 votes. And so some of that was working through those conversations and then trying to help convince people, guys, this is what the community wants and needs. And we've got to listen. I think we've spent a lot of years not listening.
Yeah.
And we've got to stop that.
Okay.
And you know, if the community wants it and needs it, then we've got to work to make sure that we're doing what they ask us to do.
All right. Excellent. How important is investing in quality of life improvements such as parks, greenways, and sidewalks for our existing residents and for attracting new residents to Statesville?
It's huge for me. I spend a lot of time with youth and children in our communities, and it's one of the biggest complaints that I hear from parents all the time. We don't have enough activities and events and activities for our youth to do. One of the things that I hope that we get from the data center, the tax base that's going to come from that, is the ability to improve our quality of life metrics here, meaning work on our parks, work with the greenways, pieces of equipment that we've not ever been able to afford, baseball fields, tracks, different things that we've never been able to do or afford, even science centers and an art center. I would love for those things to come downtown because we've got to have things that our children and young families want to do here so that we can keep our money here. If we don't keep them here, they're going to just go spend it somewhere else.
Absolutely. So is there anything you'd like to tell the voters in closing?
I'm Kimberly Wasson. I feel like I'm advocating for a progressive Statesville, and progress does not mean a bad thing. We are working really hard right now to do some of these things. If you see some of the changes in your community, if you're happy about them, fantastic. If not so much, please reach out. My campaign is not about today. It's about tomorrow's, and the tomorrows for the children and families that are coming up in our city. So I want to leave the city better for the people that are coming to our city. You know, we've done a lot, but we can always do more. If you haven't talked to me, please reach out. My name is Kimberly Wasson, and I'm running for the mayor of our great city of Statesville.
Thanks so much for coming in today.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.